Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we are playing another Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. This one was sent in by Pugnobon, or Pugnobon? I don't know how to pronounce your name, sorry. As always, let me know how it's pronounced, and I'll try and get it right next time. But yeah, Lizardmen, and he's against Viash, who's, or Viash? Again, let me know how that's pronounced in the comments. Anyway, he's playing against the Skaven, and he's against a good Skaven player, so this is going to be an interesting, tough matchup, and it's a great matchup. I think it's a really interesting one. So here he has skink cohorts with javelins in the front line, and those javelins will get some good work done, and without the javelins, they're just skink cohorts. None of their stats change. It's skink cohorts plus javelins, rather than they're the javelin version of skink cohorts. You know what I mean? It's an addition, not a different function, which is kind of cool. Think Hastati. They're cool. Anyway, Saurus Warriors. Saurus Warriors will beat the brakes off most Skaven infantry. They'll do very well there, but they will struggle against a lot of the heavily armoured units. So things like Storm Vermin are very common, which is why you want Kroxigors in your army. But there's a lot of very good anti-large as well. So yeah, you see the difficulty with this matchup, the pros and cons. But the Kroxigors will absolutely smash Storm Vermin to pieces effortlessly. They will just beat the brakes off them. It's superb how quickly they can kill a unit of Storm Vermin. Here though, it's Slan Mage Priest of High Magic, which I think is really cool. Rarely see this guy, despite the fact he looks so happy. He looks so happy. Anyway, he has Banishment. Banishment, obviously, very, very good. Gotta love Banishment. Also, Shield of the Old Ones. Again, it's a classic. Also, Order of Quetzal. This is for him. Nearby units, huge armor and melee defense buffs, which is very nice, because a lot of the armor-piercing units, you can kind of avoid, just standard Storm Vermin, that, like I said, are common. They're not going to have the armor-piercing, so this can help the front line out quite a bit. And the melee defense just helps out generally. Also, Fiery Convocation. Rarely see this. It's very nice to see. Also, Soul Quench, never see Soul Quench, and Apotheosis, which of course you do see Arcane Conduit as well. Well, greater Arcane Conduit because Slan. Also Feral Bastillodon, so another big target. So it splits up the targets a bit, so it's not all the anti-large isn't going to be focused on just the Kroxigors. You've also got the Bastillodon, and it does cause terror, which is nice. Very nice to have that, especially. Well, it's the only thing causing terror, actually. Come to think of it, wow. That's scary. You really want a lot of terror causing things against Skaven, because Skaven is, they get scared easy. Also here, though, Spear Riders, Cold One Spear Riders. Very nice anti-large armor piercing. These guys pretty versatile. Pretty damn versatile, actually. I really like these guys. I'm a huge fan of Cold One Riders in general these days. I just think they are superb. So, yeah, Skaven. Now this is scary. Like I said, Storm Vermin, pretty good in this matchup. They will hold off, Saurus Warriors for a long time. And there's a lot of them. There's 3 units here, and 2 with halberds in the back. There's also some Poison Wing Globadiers, and with that anti-large and the armor piercing, they just shred those big monsters so effortlessly. They are very scary. And of course Skrulk, because always Skrulk, and the Hellpit Abomination. So if there is a big monster that needs, needs beating up, yeah, send the Hellpit after it. That'll keep a dinosaur busy while it's killed by Poison Wing Globes. And even if the Poison Wing Globes are busy, the Hellpit can compete pretty well on its own. There's also some Gutter Runner Slingers, some Skaven Slaves dotted around just to muck things up, and some Skaven Slave Slingers too, just some extra missile damage. It does add up a surprising amount, actually. Damage from these guys if they are ignored. So, yeah, kind of cool. Speeding things up. So, front lines starting to close in. You can see a lot of the javelins are being used on the Skaven slaves, which is a mistake, I think. You don't want to waste your time on that. And here, this is a bit opportunistic, I think. It's a bit of a gamble. You really want to make sure stuff is pinned in place before you start using things like Banishment. It has chased off these Storm Vermin a bit, but that's mainly because he was lucky. And also the Poison Wing Globadiers. That Banishment could have easily just gone the other way, is the thing. So, very risky pick. Here, Soul Quench, blasting through some of the Storm Vermin and some of the Poison Wing Globadiers. Really wants to knock some of these guys out because they will hurt a lot. Units like the Feral Bastillodon, the Kroxigors, you don't want them getting fired upon by these Poison Wing Globadiers. But it looks like they're actually moving forwards, because you can see they are just in range of the Slan Mage Priest, and you do not want him under fire from Poison Wing Globadiers. So here, yep, the Bastillodon's on the case. So here's Skaven Slaves, obviously got wrecked, and now they're going to keep moving forwards, these Kroxigors and the Saurus Warriors, into the Storm Vermin. Over on this side, these Kroxigors are left idle at the moment, and that is a problem. If you don't want to go near the Hellpit, at least go for these Clan Rats, so you can start getting these Saurus Warriors in the back. But very nicely here, the Cold One Spear Riders start to push forwards, and you can see the Poison Wing Globadiers are very exposed back here. but he is going towards the halberds a little bit. I think go for the Poison Wing Globes first, knowing that they're the biggest threat to yourself, and then go for other units. Here, though, this is very bad. Slan Mage Priest, I believe, did get a lead Bubonicus used on it, but he's been terrified. You know, this Hell Pit Abomination is terrifying, and I think just as quick, yeah, actually a lot quicker. 26 speed with the Slan Mage Priest is woefully slow. But Javelins, there are a lot of Javelins in reserve, and they're going to do well against this Hell Pit Abomination. Over here, though, Clan Rat Summons being used to push all of these skinks away. I think, if in doubt, if it's a summoned unit, just split your units up, charge them, crush them, and then start throwing javelins again. Don't just keep running away to let them melt, because you need these guys close so they can start putting in some work. And here, a fiery convocation. So, bit of a scratch there, bit of a scratch there, and yeah, a bit of damage there too. So, damage across quite a lot of this line. Not too bad. A lot of this stuff is wavering now, which is rather nice. And now Soul Quench, sadly, only getting in with one of the dollops, I suppose. They seem like dollops to me. They seem like dollops to you. That spell has 3 dollops. Okay, you heard it here first. But yeah, Skrulk is getting away fairly unhurt, which is definitely a problem. Here you can see the Croxgors are in the thick of things, and you know, Feral Bastillodon's in here too. Poison Wing Globadier is very bogged down, but these Poison Wing Globadiers have come back, and there are skinks that could easily just run in here and bog these guys down. They are total pushovers in melee. They have a lot of armor, but they can't fight anyone off. They can only survive a bit with the armor. They can't actually, you know, sit in a combat and fight people, and it does look like they're getting pulled into melee anyway. Here you can see the Saurus Warriors giving Skaven Slaves and Clan Rats the slip, charging into the back here. Here, Cold One Spear Riders getting very hurt, and all of that is due to the Slinger Fire, just, you know, slowly whittling them down. Over here, the Bastillodon is getting a bit bullied, but an Apotheosis will help. Here, Croxagors are in the thick of things, but you don't want Croxagors sat fighting these Storm Vermin. So, what do? You banish those Storm Vermin. This is a very nice move. Very nice move indeed. So here, oh yeah, good chunk of damage. Good chunk of damage. Again, not the best, kind of went the wrong direction this time, but that is some pretty sizable hurt on them, so that is nice to see. Once again, though, it looks like the Slan Mage Priest is way too close to this Hell Pit Abomination. You really want to keep a distance there. And now the Rod of Corruption. Yeah, that's a lot of damage on a lot of skinks right there. Slan Mage Priest trying to come in to help deal with Skrulk, but yeah, things aren't looking great for these guys. They took a lot of damage very quickly. Skink Skirmishers, they would be great for dealing with a Hell Pit. Just damage over time, and the poison really helps. Move them to one side, move them into the empty space, and get that Hell Pit. You want that constant damage on the Hell Pit, you know? Croxagors here, still doing some work. They're kind of without purpose right now, though. These guys need to get in there and do something. Sadly, though, here's Slan Mage Priest completely slaughtered by the Hell Pit and Skrulk. And with these guys having taken quite a bit of damage from that Rod of Corruption, it doesn't take long for them to terrify, especially the Lord just going down. They lose a lot of leadership to that, and they're running, and that is a real problem. Over here, though, you can see Storm Vermin are struggling a bit. They're pretty hurt, but they've done some good damage to the Croxagors. Now here, the 2 units of Croxagors and the Feral Bastillodon, if they all just charge straight into that Storm Vermin, they could probably break them pretty easily. Especially here, they got the Saurus Warriors to charge into the back. There are more Storm Vermin coming, though, so they look like they need to block that instead. Here, Cold One Spear Riders both teetering on the edge, but they are able to whittle down a lot of this back line. Over here, units are starting to rally, but you see there are some Skaven Slaves, there are some Storm Vermin loitering nearby, all very injured, but not very good at killing armoured units of the Skink. So these guys, they will lose the fight eventually to just such overwhelming numbers, but they will hold them off for a long time. And you really need all these bodies to come in here and start taking some blows to the Croxagors. The Croxagors can get the killing done. Because over here, the Hell Pit, he's going to be taking a lot of damage from this stuff. I mean, yeah, these Croxagors just been terrified away, but, you know, damage in kind, really. Things like Croxagors, sort of monstrous infantry, they tend to do pretty damn well against something like a Hell Pit, because the Hell Pit, getting attacked from all different sides, very big target, very high weapon strength on something like the Croxagors, they can actually put in a lot of hurt. You know, it's not something they want to be fighting, but it doesn't mean that they're just going to die without, you know, earning some damage there. But over here, you can see the Cold One Spear Riders, the Bastillodon, they're just gooning units that are spread out around the place. And that is worthwhile, you know, make sure you shatter those units so they can't come back, or at least damage them enough that if they do ever come anywhere near that Bastillodon again, they're going to terrify away immediately. Over here, they can see a ton of Skinks and Saurus Warriors still just bogged down by this Storm Vermin, and that's a real problem. Now, the other Croxagors have been absolutely smashed to pieces, and the Saurus Warriors that were only really delaying, they've finally lost out to all these Storm Vermin, because they aren't that great against armored targets. Now, over here, you can see the Feral Bastillodon is running, and sadly, these Poison Wing Globadiers were just never finished off. So they have plenty of ammunition left, still 17 models, and that's enough to do a lot of hurt. Another huge Rod of Corruption just doing so much damage to all these units that are super blobbed up. Thing is, with skinks, you never really want them blobbed up. They're the sort of thing that you want to send in a billion different directions and just, you know, pen in and chase off a billion different things. You never want them to be like a big ordered front line. They're always support or harassment. You know, they aren't going to stand firm in a big blob, and that is the problem. Really want to spread these guys out. You know, if there are units summoned, it doesn't matter. Clan rats are a bit crap. You can bully them, send a load of units in and crush them all at once. I think that's the way to do it. You know, get rid of them quickly and you're within reach of the front line. Just throw units in the way of things you need, or throw a load of javelins on something. You know, like that Hell Pit Abomination. Hell Pit Abomination down. No, that's not him. Where is he? No, there he is. There he is. Yeah, just waste him. You know, waste him with javelins. He sucks against javelins. He doesn't have the armor. You know, and that poison will help lower his combat effectiveness. So I think that's the main thing. A lot of skinks with a lot of potential, but you know, a great many units here just weren't being used to sort of chase or harass. They were running away. And that's the problem. You know, they weren't fleeing, they were just trying to keep out of harm's way. And because skinks only cost, well, skinks with javelins, 400 apiece, who cares if they die, right? You know, you need to make the best of them. You need to use them to make sure the other stuff isn't taking the damage, or that they're getting some damage into something, you know, punching way above their belt. Because the combined strength of all these javelins and the skink skirmishers, they could have taken down that hell pit really quickly. And that would have meant that the Croxagores wouldn't have got beaten up. The Bastillodon wouldn't have taken as much damage, you know, and the Cold One Spear Riders, if they'd taken out the Poison Wing Globadiers on that initial charge, rather than trying to support the other units, then yeah, they wouldn't really have had as many threats. None of these units would. And I think that was the big problem with this one. But it was still hugely entertaining. I love this build. I think there's a lot of potential here. And I think the Slan Mage of High, rarely see him, you know, rarely see High Magic brought by the Lizardmen, which is weird because it is actually pretty good. You know, it's a good opportunity to bring a magic missile, which is super useful when dealing with something like Skrulk. You really want to just blast him at range. And yeah, I think that's useful. Not a versatility from the Slan Mage Priest, but you gotta make sure you keep a distance. You cannot get too close. That's kind of the problem, you know, with that buff of his, that, you know, armor and melee defense buff. It sort of implies he's gonna be in the front line, but against Skaven, it's risky. You don't want to be there. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one, but it's definitely good just to proc if you are getting caught out. It will help keep them alive for a while. You know, that's when you want to use it. Not support your own front line, but try and stop yourself from dying. That's I think that's the best time to use that ability. There will be other times, of course, but yeah, I think this build has a lot of potential. I think he could have done it if he just, yeah, slightly changed some of the strategy there. You know, don't let the Skaven chase you away. You know, they'll try and bog you down with stuff, but let them bog you down. You're going to get through them a lot quicker if you don't run off, you know, especially when you've got so many healthy skinks in the back line, because you need to get these guys involved, or it's just not going to work. You're going to get worn out, and that's a real pity. So guys, yeah, this was a fun one. If you guys enjoyed this, then please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.